Welcome to my heart. I come from the mountain of the Lord, and I come to you as your tutor, beloved hearts. I will tutor your souls this night, that you might receive Alpha and Omega, with the maximum light focused in the crown chakra. Therefore, the legions of the second ray and all who are the Buddhas and the Bodhisattvas are beginning to stream to this very heart, cleansed now by the rain of some ancient records that must be removed. And a little at a time they are removed, beloved, year upon year, as the light you invoke does penetrate, and as elemental life do cooperate. It is the consideration of the Council of the Royal Teton and the Darjeeling Council that it is necessary for you to prepare more adequately to receive the light of Alpha and Omega and of Helios and Vesta. Therefore, we request that you concentrate on the decrees of the second ray and weave them in a braid with a violet flame, supporting this matrix with your judgment calls and pillars of blue flame from the heart of Hercules and Astraea, Archangel Michael and Surya. Blessed ones, this preparation shall allow you to take and hold more light, light for the illumination of a world. For a new day has dawned, and that new day, beloved, is the coming of age of many souls of light who will reach the point of the crown chakra as you raise up the sacred fire yourselves and hold that focus for the opening of the crown. Jophiel and Christine contribute mightily to the dispensation of illumination. And I think, beloved ones, that you do not give enough attention, even in the singing of the hymn, to Jophiel and Christine. For they do come and they do tarry, beloved, and they will saturate you in yellow fire. They will do much more if you will consider them and reread their dictations. You will discover that they have mentioned the clearing of the planet of many conditions of ignorance and all manner of burden upon the people, but for your dedication to their activity. We have therefore placed on the cassette of the Archangel Michael's songs these songs to the beings of the yellow ray. Let them ring in your hearts and in your headsets, so that you may have streams and ribbons of yellow fire coming down, imparting hope to the nations, hope to your own beating heart. We of the Council of the Royal Teton are aware of the opening of mighty vortices of light from the central sun, and the opening of the hearts and the minds. Yet how the brains of the people of this planet need a scrubbing. How the sacred fire of the mother must be focused and employed by you for this distillation, for this cleansing, beloved. The yellow flame is a purifying fire. We desire to see the Christ mind congruent with the lower mind, yet vessels must be emptied, and it is a fasting not only of food, but it is a fasting from the entertainment of the world and the continual bombardment of the mind by the rhythms which are not rhythms at all, but are arrhythmic. So, beloved, to use the minds of the people, we call upon you and all elemental life, and especially the body elementals of the people, to engage in that decree work whereby many may come into a true illumination of their own consciousness, their own being, their own life stream, their own tie to God. How can the people perceive the kingdom of God within them if that kingdom is so cluttered with the debris of the centuries? Beloved ones, you may know and you may have heard this before, but I speak in the context of a world in transition, and unless the minds of the light bearers and of the children be quickened, where shall we find the planetary home? You can see through the schemes of the politicians and those who represent you in the offices of government. This nation is in a crisis of confidence, and many do not even dare to run for office again, so convinced are they that their constituents will not elect them. Truly it is the hour of the raising up of the feminine ray, and may the woman who does come forth to represent the people be blessed, and let the man who does come forth be blessed, and let them both raise up the light of the feminine ray, for only thereby will the true God solution to the world problems be found, beloved, will it be known. We come for the education of the heart as well as the mind. We come with gladness that so many students desire to study at Summit University and who have answered the call of Kuan Yin to come to learn and teach the children. Surely it is an hour when wisdom is exploding everywhere and the hunger for the knowledge of God is everywhere. And where shall they go for that water which they may drink, which will give to them everlasting life? Tell them, I say to you, tell them of the Christ that lives in the heart. Tell them of the soul that must rise. Tell them of the kingdom of God, and of the world in transition, and of the hour and the day when the mountains shall shake, and the trembling of the earth shall come, and there shall be the melting of the elements with a mighty fervent heat, and the alchemy of a world shall come about. Let that alchemy and that quaking and shaking begin where you are. Let it begin, therefore, for the settling and the leveling and the leavening of consciousness. Let there be the repolarization of every life stream upon this planet to the great central sun magnet. Come forth, O legions of light. Now behold with your inner eye how rings upon rings of angels of the yellow flame do congregate. And so the legions of holy Justinius, captain of seraphic bands, do come with their rings upon rings of white fire. And therefore we are building in this place, beloved ones, a replica of the great causal body. And we begin with the white fire core of the seraphim of God, who established their fount of light in the great central sun. And the legions of the yellow ray come, and therefore the first two spheres of the causal body are being established over this place. And these two spheres, beloved, relate to certain evolutions, certain key life streams who must make their ascension through the victory of those spheres and those worlds and those preparations that they long ago received in those quadrants of the great causal body of God in the great central sun. Therefore, as we lay down this replica of the great central sun magnet during this conference, you will find that there will be an awakening within your soul of your experiences in the heart of the great central sun with your twin flame in the beginning. And therefore you will remember why you have come, what you were sent to do, what was the point of your origin and destiny. See then how nestled in the white fire core of Alpha and Omega you were born, sons and daughters of God, mated to go forth to bring the full complement of the Father-Mother to the evolutions whom you would reach. It is time to go back to that point of origin, to begin the whole round all over again, and to retrace it almost as with a computer of the mind of God, to go through light years of the descent of the soul, finally to these octaves, to trace your footsteps, and then to engage in the reverse, and to return all the way back to that point of origin. Thus, in going to the center, in coming out from the center and going unto it again, you are weaving the mighty cosmic daisy, and you are seeing the increase and the adding unto of your being, unto the I am that I am, of these mighty rings of light. They are vast, beloved. The rings of light incorporate the entire cosmos, and yet that individualized causal body you can relate to as a mighty sphere above you. Is not this the wondrous activity of our God, beloved? Is it not the action whereby the living Christ does reach out to save that which is lost? Thus out of the fiery purity of your original blueprint, go forth in to the golden yellow sphere and reactivate the mind of God within you, and allow the fat upon the brain to be removed and dissolved until the brain itself glistens like crystal and is able to coalesce the white fire of God, of your holy Christ self. What a worthy goal, what a joyous goal, to empty the pockets of the cells of every organ of the body and every atom of those organs. What a joy, beloved, to find yourself being restored to the Adam Kadmon. Yes, beloved ones, the original matrix of perfect man and perfect womb man. To return to that point, beloved, will allow you to bring forth again original root races and life streams who also go back to that etheric blueprint and have been denied it and therefore have not entered into embodiment. I speak also of the seventh root race. Now then, for the turning around of worlds, let the physical bodies be prepared. Let the desire bodies be prepared. Let the etheric body be prepared. Let the mental body be prepared. Beloved souls of light, hear my call in this hour. Hear my awakening. Even as I take hold of the giant sheet that does traverse a cosmos, And I shake it, beloved, and the waves go forth, the waves of illumination, the waves of white fire purity, preceded then by legions of the violet flame, and of the blue lightning, and of the ruby ray, who are clearing the cosmos for the descent of the sons and daughters of God. There are so very many who desire to descend to this level for the rescue mission of the Christs and the Bodhisattvas. They are in place, beloved. Now we come to see that you are in place and that you understand how to seek the refinement of the Spirit. I am Lanto, Chohan of the second ray. I come on behalf of the Royal Teton Council, and I come on behalf of Alpha and Omega. I plead with you, let not this nation go down in ignorance, for a failure to educate the children in the true things of the Spirit and to set the geometry of the material universe in right programs of education, that they might be vessels for a greater science, a greater sound of music, and discoveries and dispensations that may be channeled through them, because, beloved, you have laid the foundation and given them the proper teaching as well as the education of the heart. Let there be the turning around, beloved, for you know there does come a time in the downward degeneration, whether of a body or an organ, when it simply fulfills itself in the death spiral. There is a time to turn a world around, and there is time when it is no longer possible. I say you have come to the point on this day and date wherein it is possible to turn the world around. And yet I say to you, insert a mighty momentum of fervent prayer into the earth in this place, to start that spiral, to make yourselves congruent with Elohim. For unless you do, beloved, there may not come another opportunity. How long can Elohim therefore hold back the avalanche of the descent of civilizations worldwide? You are seeing it everywhere. Do not become ho-hum about what you see, for what you see is truly the most dangerous aspect of a world in transition, and instead of going up a world then going into self-disintegration. Look all around you and see the bodies and minds that are disintegrating. Know whereof I speak, and know that it is the angels of the second ray that must come in your name and by your call for the mighty quickening of the people. For their ears, their minds, their hearts, their eyes have waxed dull, and they no longer see cause related to effect, and effect related to cause. I cry out for enlightenment, and for the enlightened ones to decree for that enlightenment unto all who can potentially carry it, namely the Christ bearers, the children of the light, and all who will come into the camp and determine once and for all to be servants of God. I have made a plea to you, beloved, perhaps not as great as I would have liked to, but I must speak as I speak from my heart, and I must tell you that to burden you anymore, or to burden the councils of the brotherhood anymore, would perpetuate my delivery too long. Therefore I cast out a flame of hope. I cast out cloven tongues of yellow fire, and they sit upon you, one and all, on the crown chakra, as though it were the day of Pentecost. And yet it is not. It is the day of the coming of the lords of the second ray. It is the day of the coming of the Buddhas and the Bodhisattvas. It is the day of the coming, beloved ones, of a commitment and a promise that must be on both sides. I ask you to give attention to the yellow ray and see what you can do to awaken America. I am Lanto, always very near to you in the quietness of wisdom's flame. Legions of the great central sun! Ho, legions of the great central sun! I am Victory, and I am here to break the spell of non-victory in the lives of the light bearers of Earth. I am come, and I am here to put down these fallen ones who have determined to pervert the very life force, the lifeblood, and the beings of the servants of God. I am here, beloved ones, for the spirals of victory descend. I respond to Alpha and Omega. I respond to all the legions of the second ray. I am responding to and representing the mighty bodhisattvas who dwell on the inner planes of the etheric octave and desire to take embodiment. I come to you brimming with a joy that we can meet together the expectations and even the demands of Lord Lanto and all who serve with him, who read as we do the handwriting on the wall. Therefore, beloved sons and daughters, be drenched in the flame of victory, be drenched in the flame of Justina, and know that we are one, and we add the momentum of our twin flames to those cloven tongues of gold and fire that descend upon your crown chakras now, and they are meeting a certain amount of density, and therefore we feed them our fire as the light does penetrate through the etheric sheath, through the mental, through the desire, through the physical. Oh, beloved ones, help us with right diet, help us with pure thought, help us with meditation, help us with doing your pranayam. Yes, beloved, we will remake you in the image and likeness of God if you will cooperate. Therefore, will you cooperate? Yes! I speak quickly and with a mighty fire, that I might inject in you the sense of acceleration. You have been on other worlds and systems of worlds and in higher octaves, where you would think more easily and more quickly. Your motions would be more direct and mercurial, and you would accomplish so much more of the penetration of the mind of God and the drawing forth even of the engineering and the design and the architecture of the golden cities of light in the etheric octave. Yes, you have lived in those levels. You have known a greater communication. And now I say, the forces of anti-victory, the forces of non-victory have heaped upon you a momentum and a burden and a weight, beloved ones. And you must listen to me. You must know that it must be challenged by you and you alone. And the fire of you is the fire of God in you. For you are God, victory, and manifestation. And I see you as manifestations of ourselves, of victory and Justina in the God flame of victory. And I see you in your mighty golden robes and golden wings of victory, and you are that victory, and I affirm it now. And therefore I say, take the fire of victory in your souls, take the fire of God victory, that is the God victory of your own mighty I am presence, and jump out of those snake skins, jump out of that density, and go forward, enjoying the vastness of the universe. For your own mind can tap it, because you have chosen to develop your heart and meditate in your heart, and therefore the rings of fire grow, and therefore the bodhisattvas may come to you, they may touch you, they may quicken you. Beloved ones, come into balance. Come into balance, I say, and cherish nothing in this world more than your own individual equilibrium, your equilibrium in your own tree of life, in your own mighty I am presence. Let us say that everything that detracts from that equilibrium, south, north, east, west, beloved ones, does detract from your mighty victory. And I say a mighty victory you must have, and you should not make it by the skin of your teeth in the hour when your name is called at roll call, at Luxor. Yes, beloved, it should be with flying colors and the highest honors. You should be ready for your ascension tomorrow, if necessary, or the next tomorrow, or the next year, or the next 5. Yes, beloved, be ready now, and then walk the earth as that example that others may see and follow. This is an hour of cycles turning. Whether we can turn them around depends on the response of every light bearer on this planet to my message given this day. And therefore I ask you to communicate it through prayer, through decree, through information, through giving to individuals the pearl of wisdom that shall be printed of my dictation, and of the work and of the calls of the legions of the second ray. It is a moment, beloved, when all could be won and all could be lost. Do not discount your godhood. One individual who is God and knows it is the pillar of fire, the rod in the earth that shall be the focus of the great central sun magnet. And many coming together in this place, even once a year, beloved, does produce that concentration of fire whereby we may penetrate and probe in the earth and place our probes, allowing the light you invoke to penetrate more deeply and more deeply. Therefore I say, prepare for coming here again next year, starting the day that the conference has concluded. Make your plans, determine to have the funds and the means, and decree for the absolute God victory of souls. Now I will tell you what we did with these earthquakes this day. We have taken the opportunity of your holding the balance for the earth in this place to allow these earthquakes to happen as they would inevitably happen, but with the least amount of loss of life and damage, because you have kept the flame, because you have tarried these days, because you determined and did go to the Royal Teton retreat last night, and therefore you did journey with legions of light, and you did perform a mighty spiritual work over Yugoslavia. And it did come to pass that you established a coordinate in that nation and other coordinates upon the planet by other servants of God, whereby these earthquakes can be for a mitigation, a balancing, and a release of pent-up energies in the earth. Therefore understand how much we can do when we have a body of light bearers who can remain at the same place for a period of 10 days or even more. But for any amount of time we are grateful, whether you determine to do a 24-hour marathon in your study groups and teaching centers, where you can hold the flame of harmony and make of that flame one of God illumination with a violet flame and all the calls that you give. I will tell you, beloved, the release in Alaska is the same. And some of you who are the quote old timers have seen earthquakes of this dimension, yet not of that magnitude, happen from time to time during conferences, and it has always been because the student body has been able to hold a balance for release, and without that holding of the balance, there could have been far greater calamity and destruction to life. You know that earth changes are in the planetary plan, but how and where they shall manifest, to what degree of burden upon the people or loss of life, surely rests upon the individual decision that shall be made each and every day by the servants of God on earth. I say, become fiery electrodes, love the wisdom teachings, pursue the path of the mystics, be together in the light, and therefore convey a spiritual teaching and a spiritual consciousness. Read the books and the foundations of these mystical paths of the world religion, and therefore understand all people, and therefore when you give your ashram rituals, beloved, you are able to contact in a deeper way so many souls of light, because now you understand their path, and when you understand their path, you understand their vibration. Therefore, be comfortable by being seated. Beloved ones, in order for me to speak to you, I must have a dispensation from the lords of karma, from the 24 elders, and beyond that, the solar logoi. Therefore, I deem it a great privilege to be with you in this hour. It has been weighed time and again, preceding conferences, and it has been decided that I should not speak, for the power of victory is great, and the power of victory can unleash such tremendous enthusiasm and fire of purpose that when it does descend on the unenlightened evolutions of a planet, it can stir up the urge to go out and do those things which are not the will of God. Therefore, we have created a trusted chalice, as you are that chalice, and you have placed your trust in God and made yourselves available to Lord Krishna and the hosts of the Lord. I desire then to continue to release this night the power, the wisdom, the love of victory. And to do so, I need your cooperation in harmony. I need it, beloved, because if the light I release is so easily misqualified by those who are among the most advanced in the outer world today, then you see, I will make that karma, and I will again be limited in coming. Consider then all those areas of your life in which you desire to be victorious. You would do well after this session or in the morning to write down each point of your personal life stream and activities where you desire victory. You can chart it on a map, beloved, a map of your life, and you can put those golden ribbons at that place where you are determined to have your victory. Victory over self and every condition. Victory in this church. Victory in the dissemination of the teachings. Victory in the nations. Victory in the governments. Victory in education. Victory in every area of life. Beloved ones, look all around you in this hour, and what do you see? You see defeat, beloved hearts. Everywhere people are being defeated by their own ignorance, by their own absence of the fiery coil of the Divine Mother, of this sacred fire rising up within them. They are being defeated on every hand, in the economy and in business and in life. There is a world depression that is not as apparent as it might be. For if the world could know the state of world oppression that is upon the people, perhaps they would determine to do something about it. Well, I will tell you, your violet flame marathons in this conference, sprinkled with the intensity of the yellow fire, will awaken and quicken some. They will awake as from a deep slumber, and they will begin the quest, and they will search, and when they search, who will they find? They will find you, as myself and Justina, and we will be there with you, and we will be there to bring home the victory. Let America awake, let Americans awake, and let the fire of the entire spirit of the great white brotherhood go forth from your hearts. I, Victory, with my beloved consort, greet you in this hour, and we are transferring to you, increment by increment, that which you can spiritually assimilate of victory. Therefore continue your calls and affirmations to me this night, and see what we will do together. There are other events in the planet in store during this conference. We desire to see a mighty action for the right, for the feeding of the hungry and the liberation of souls, and the exposure of the dark forces that are yet intent upon global warfare. These must be bound on the astral plane, and those in embodiment as well, by legions of victory, legions of Jovial and Christine. We come in anticipation of Alpha and Omega. Now, precious hearts of light, so rise to that mighty occasion. Go, legions of seraphim from the great central sun. March then to the heart of the inner retreat. March then and establish now with legions of the second ray that platform for the coming of our beloved Alpha and Omega. So the legions come, beloved, and I salute you in their name. I salute you in the name of the God flame in your hearts. Visualize now the seraphim who form the concentric rings round the central sun, making their way to this place to assist you in holding the balance in the earth for the coming of Alpha and Omega. These seraphim are your very best friends, and probably the friends you ignore the most. I shall remind you, therefore, that they are of the order of Serapis, that they attend your ascension, and they attend your ascension in every embodiment since you have left the great central sun. When they place their mighty wings, these four-winged creatures, therefore, superimpose themselves upon your bodies, and one command from you, made by the authority of the Christ in your heart, and you can watch how the seraphim shall bring you into alignment, bring all the functionings of all of the levels of your being into alignment. Miracles, seeming miracles, take place in the very auras of the seraphim of God. Do not neglect fathers and mothers, healthcare practitioners, physicians, healers. Do not neglect the call to the seraphim of God when you are dealing even with the slightest out of alignment state. For the seraphim are the greatest physicians of all. They are the greatest healers, ranking with the highest legions of Raphael and Mother Mary. And therefore, because they have in their auras the mighty power of the central sun and the white fire core of being, and who always carry the vibration of your Father, Mother God, who have given you life and divine plan and matrix and attention to every detail of your life, therefore they can restore by the energies of the great central sun. And there is no greater restorative power than that of the great central sun, as it is transmitted and stepped down with and through the seraphim of God. I say, one and all, reread the dossier on the ascension, and now enter into the highest conception of the point of the beginning beyond the beginning, the point of Ein Sof. This you can achieve through the mind of the seraphim as in no other way. Why, to look upon you and your neglect of the seraphim, one would almost think that you really want to be sick and have your ailments. For if you really did want to get rid of them, beloved ones, would you not call upon them, I say?
Yes.
Well then, as they say on this planet, examine your psychology and determine why you want to enter into a codependency between yourself and your ailments. Beloved ones, it is time to have done with those ailments. It is time for the resurrection. It is time for the ascension flame. Now be drenched in these fires as they are tempered to your present condition. And know that some of you have truly not prepared for our coming, but you may do so even in these few days, preparing yourselves to contain more light. It is a wondrous occasion when the solar logoi will authorize so many legions of seraphim to come to earth. Now, beloved ones, consider this, for you are wise ones. Consider that since with the coming of Alpha and Omega, so many hosts of light come in attendance, that there shall be ultimately in this conference an extraordinary gathering of the hosts of the Lord for those dictations. Therefore say to yourself, with so many in such proximity, why should we not request some labors from our beloved El Moria? Why should we not go to work when we have such a reinforcement of one another to go after that force of Antichrist in the world, and see and prove here now the Lord God himself how he will defeat that force through you, and how mighty numbers, and even the number of the 666 will go down. See what you can do, beloved, and be impressed with the very fact that your journeying in the inner octaves and your presence here has already, even in the third day of this conference, allowed earth changes to take place without further calamity. Blessed ones, it is a delicate matter for elemental life and the attending angels who must tend a planet in transition, a planet which must be saved, a planet which must be healed, which must be purged all at once. This is a delicate operation, and some of you know that this is directed from the retreat of Cuzco and by the mighty power of Syria as he maintains his focus in the god star Sirius. Therefore, I assure you that thousands upon thousands of ascended masters who are experts in the sciences of geology and all of the levels of the earth are working now at a very intense level, and they request your support, and they are ascended masters, beloved. You simply do not realize the conditions of the earth and the horrendous weight of untransmuted karma that weights the earth down at elemental life also, not to mention the pollutions and the toxins in the bodies of the people themselves. This earth has been raped, as you know. It has been abused, and yet you have found a pristine place, fairly untouched, to consecrate the work of the Great White Brotherhood. And that place, as you know, has been dedicated long, long time for its connection to the Grand Teton. So, beloved, when I tell you that ascended masters and archangels and Elohim are working very hard to produce the acceleration of earth without the destruction of earth, I know whereof I speak. And you can think of the individual on the operating table whose life hangs in the balance of physicians and surgeons. And if such and such a procedure is tried, perhaps the patient will not recover. And therefore the decision, shall we try it or not? Blessed hearts, earth is a sick planet, and many divine physicians are attending. We bid you join us, join the seraphim of God, join the legions of the fifth ray, and make this experience in the very mountains of the Lord be one that counts for all evolutions of the planet. I am Justinius, captain of seraphic bands, and I announce to you the day and the hour when the opportunity shall be open to you to take your ascension, if you prepare for it from this moment on. Yes, beloved, it is only an opportunity if you exercise it. It is only an open door if you will walk through it, and if you will have the courage to take every step that is necessary to make it. Then you will know how it feels to walk the earth as an ascended master, moving among those who are the light bearers, quickening them. You will know what it is to place your electronic presence everywhere over the light bearers. Therefore, take care that you leave in embodiment many fine souls and well-trained ones, that the continuity of the spiritual life of the true mystics of all ages may survive on planet Earth, and thereby the earth herself survive. Into your hands I give you the planet, beloved ones. It belongs to you. This is your day and your hour. See what you can do to bring her home with her evolutions cut free. I am your servant, Justinius.